Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Setup Wars episode 358, the show where you submit your setup to get featured on the channel. If you guys want to participate for a future episode, make sure to watch the video link down below. But without further ado, let the Setup Wars begin.
Hello there.
Jesus, what? Oh my God, why can't you just leave me alone? Get rid of that pesky watermark by activating Windows using a key from VIP or cdkey.com. Instead of paying full price for one, you can get a Windows 10 or a Windows 11 CD key for dirt cheap after using the code TS20. After purchasing the key, all you have to do is go into the user center up top, then navigate to your orders so you can reveal the key. Then simply copy and paste that into the activation settings of Windows and you're all set. Thank you. Kicking off the episode is Chris, a chef from the UK, and his Demon Slayer inspired setup. He's a family man who loves anime and gaming in his free time, and this build was his way of expressing those interests while spending some quality time. The design and color scheme are of course based on Demon Slayer, but he ended up going with purple lighting as it's his wife's favorite color. Like he said, happy wife, happy life. Couldn't agree more. It took him around 8 months to complete, and he went mainly with black and white gear to offset all the colors, but also symbolize the clash of light and dark both in life and in anime. He's rocking a massive 32-inch Samsung Odyssey monitor mounted to the desk, which features a pretty cool, unique quartz and mineral design. If you guys are interested or curious, it's the Saljon worktop from IKEA, and they do offer some stone, marble, and other wood variants too. Pretty cool. For peripherals, he's got a Klim Shift 60% keyboard and a pair of mice. We got the Razer Naga for MMOs and a Klim Blaze Pro as a secondary wireless option. I love how he stuck to the black and white scheme here as well, even going as far as splitting the keycap colors. If it were me, I might have reversed them for more contrast with the mousepad, but that's just a personal nitpick. Our Dragon and Koi mousepads would also fit this theme really well. He's using a Creative Stage soundbar with its subwoofer for audio, and when it's time to game and beat Michael Jackson's butt, he switches to the Corsair HS80 wireless and white. As he doesn't have a dedicated microphone, he relies on a built-in mic from the headset itself. Looking under the desk, everything seems to be well managed. He's got a rack holding a big power strip, and all the cables are neatly tied up with Velcro straps and cable clips. No complaints here. The PC is a mostly white build inside the Corsair 5000D, powered by an i7-10700K and an MSI RTX 3070 Ti. He did throw in some custom sleeve cable extensions to finish the look, though I do recommend adjusting the combs or adding more so they run parallel instead of looking a bit messy. It's a minor detail, but it will polish the build really well. You know, with the main lights off and the RGB glowing, you can really notice the whole anime come through. Chris even set up Alexa voice control for his lights so he doesn't have to switch them on and off manually all the time.
Alexa, switch on game room.
Okay.
A solid setup to start the episode. Thank you, Chris, for sharing this with us. The second setup of the day also belongs to a Chris, but from the other side of the globe. He's a software developer from Australia with a fully decked out quadruple setup in his man cave, which has evolved over more than 7 years and is still ongoing. He was actually featured in episode 316 Ultimate Edition all the way back in 2022, and he's returned with guns blazing and huge upgrades to show off. He's still got the same general layout, his main PC gaming corner plus a home office to the side, a racing sim on the right, and a console/entertainment setup with a 65-inch TV behind everything. One major change is the color of the walls. Looks like he repainted the entire room for a darker, more secluded vibe, and he replaced all the lighting, which is now fully remote controlled. Setting it all to bright white is probably my favorite though, as it gives off this cool spaceship aura. The new paint job, along with the rearranged corner setup and the racing sim, definitely makes it feel more futuristic and cozy. He also added a pegboard for some peripherals, collectibles, and tools, plus shelves sandwiching the console setup for additional decor and storing collectibles. You know, compared to last time, there's definitely an upward shift in terms of personality. With that said, not much has changed with his main gear though. The 49-inch Samsung Odyssey monitors remain for both the gaming PC and the racing sim. He's also kept the same Logitech and Corsair peripherals, as well as the iPad on a boom arm as an extra display. And for audio, he did stick with the Katana V2 soundbar and the Logitech Z906 surround sound for his sim. His work from home setup, however, did get a big update. It now features 3 HP displays connected to laptops. It definitely fills the corner nicely, and all that extra screen real estate is perfect for coding and multitasking as a developer, I would assume. But that racing sim setup still looks gorgeous, with all the different wheels he can swap out, and there is a slight upgrade here as well. Since he added a VPC flight stick with its throttle, he can fully immerse himself in flight simulators too. Super cool. As for console gaming, he left most of the consoles alone. He just wall-mounted a TV for more space on the low board, along with better lighting and display shelves on the sides. It's cleaner and has more personal space overall. The PC also received upgrades. Visually, it has stayed the same and is still powering the gaming and racing sim setups, but it now packs a Ryzen 7 5800X 3D processor. He does plan to upgrade to the AM5 platform, add a 360mm AIO and a new GPU down the line, but we'll have to wait for the next submission, obviously. I do suggest some cosmetic touches as well, like black power supply cable extensions, for example. Cable management is pristine. Everything's properly tied up both behind the monitors and underneath the desk without unnecessary slack. The cables to the racing sim and the Z906 sub run on the floor, but he did use a black sleeve to kind of blend them in and keep them out of the way. Great job. You know, looking at the rest of the room, I'm not exactly sure whether this was part of the previous submission, but he's also got a wall of posters near the couch with various collectibles. We have an Iron Man helmet, a gauntlet matching the whole Marvel theme on the console side, and showing off his love for the franchise. There's even a Stormtrooper flask or bottle. Awesome touch. Honestly, man, these upgrades over the years have brought your setup to a new level. But what I like most about this entire room is that you didn't just buy a bunch of gear and slap it together. It's obvious that you put in a lot of thought and care into where everything goes, and everything just fits together seamlessly. But since you don't have custom cable extensions, I can't give you the seal of approval. Psych! Of course I'm giving you the seal of approval, my guy. I'm not gonna deny just because you don't have a set of cable extensions. I may be bad, but I'm not that bad. Okay, if you're watching this video, hit me up on Discord to claim your one-of-a-kind plaque and also a free TechSource mousepad. We actually just recently launched our Season 13 collection, and that sniper rifle or maybe even the deagles look like they would fit right into your secondary setup. Well deserved, Chris. Holy mother of all monitors. Up next is Emmanuel from Virginia and his dark and wood-themed setup. The very first thing most of you probably noticed was that Samsung Odyssey Arc in vertical mode. I don't know what is more absurd, that monitor or the fact that he has 9 pairs of headphones and a bunch of other audio gear scattered around the setup. You would think he's in the music industry, but nope, he's actually a senior telecom engineer who just loves music and high quality audio. Though the setup itself is fairly tame in decor, the rest of his room is heavily anime inspired. We got figurines from popular series we all know and love, couch covers from Attack on Titan, and Akira. I see you got great taste. He's also watching Solo Leveling, judging by the TV. And on that note, am I the only one that's annoyed by the weekly schedule? Spoiler alert, by the way, for those who haven't read the series or watched the show, you can skip over to the next timestamp, but I gotta see my boy fight Beru. Come on, I'm just saying. But anyways, back to the setup. The foundation is a Carbly countertop attached to an uplift standing desk frame, and then we got Alex drawers on both sides for extra storage. The monitor isn't on an arm, however he did get a monitor riser, which is the next best thing. And by the way, this isn't your average monitor riser, it's the fancy Hexcult Studio, and for those of you who don't know, this actually costs more than some budget gaming PCs out there. It's essentially a powered hub with built-in cable management and a light bar. As for audio, there's just so much going on that I'd ask Mallory to have a list of all the different items on the screen with their corresponding prices. I would probably need a few minutes just to simply name all of them. This is the kind of collection many audiophile would dream of. Cable management is mostly hidden by the metal plate at the back, so we don't see much, but the desk surface is clean and there aren't any cables on the ground. I approve. You might have noticed the cheese grater Mac Pro underneath the desk, but he does game from time to time. He'll occasionally play Apple Arcade or switch up to the PS5 or Xbox Series X for a more serious and proper gaming experience. No hate towards Mac here, by the way, I'm just speaking pure facts. It's an overall cozy setup, Emmanuel. You mentioned you also have a 4-feet Marvel Superheroes arcade in another room, which you might integrate in your setup later down the line. If you do, please apply again because I'd love to see it, and I'm sure everyone else watching as well. Thanks for coming on the show. Changing the mood from dark to light is Yuin from Cali and his superhero-inspired gaming corner. He's a college student who built this in about 10 months and uses it mainly for gaming and schoolwork. He's got dual 27-inch MSI monitors in landscape mode, a 240Hz as the main and a 165Hz for the secondary, both of which are mounted to the desk. Now, I'm not sure what program he's using for those custom desktop icons, but if any of you know, make sure to drop it in the comment section because that actually looks dope. Moving on to peripherals, he's using a custom GMMK Pro keyboard and a Razer Viper Ultimate, both resting on our TechSource Dusk mousepad. Aside from those, the desk only holds a wireless charger, a hand fan, an Echo Dot. We also got the Stream Deck Plus and an RGB soundbar. In terms of audio, he did mention he has a pair of Logitech Pro X headphones, but I honestly don't see them anywhere, so he probably stashed them away. And for the mic, he did go with a Fifine USB microphone. Cable management looks great, everything is bundled and hidden behind a metal rack. The only visible cable is in a white sleeve that blends in with the wall. I'd suggest shortening that slack so you don't catch it with your foot while sitting down though. Powering the setup is a white build featuring an Intel i7-13700K and a Gigabyte RTX 4070 Ti with some Lean Streamer Plus cable extensions and a bunch of RGB. He's also set it up for Alexa voice control, as you can see here.
Alexa, turn on bedroom.
Okay.
I will say though, your fans sound relatively loud even at idle. You might want to look into your fan curves unless something else is causing all that background noise. Clearly the highlight is the superhero memorabilia and the collectibles, adding tons of personality. A great setup worthy of Cap Shield up there. It was great having you on the show. The final setup of the day belongs to me? Wait, hold on. What am I looking at right here? Did someone actually submit a render of my previous setup? No, the room looks different. Well, I'll be damned. This is a real setup. All jokes aside, this setup is obviously very familiar for those who have been following the channel for quite a bit, but this actually belongs to Speedy, who is from Belgium. He's actually a huge fan of the show who was inspired by my Ultimate Dream Setup series to build his very own. In fact, he's a Discord supporter and I've been talking to him directly, so I was actually expecting this submission on the show. I wouldn't call it a direct copy, but it's basically one-to-one, right down to the wallpapers and even the PC. And just for the record, I want to say, okay, this is freaking awesome. It's like looking in the mirror. The fact that my previous setup was so much of an inspiration for someone to take it and build one themselves is insane. Like, what other achievement in life can come close to this? I feel like I've unlocked an accolade in life. Still, that doesn't take away from the fact that Speedy put a lot of time and effort into the setup. He painted the whole room, custom built 2 tabletops for the desk and the headboard where he mounted 4 monitors. He also drilled through the brick wall to hide cables for the PC, which is, by the way, his first ever water-cooled build. I mean, look at that. It is so damn clean. This man took symmetry literally, and I love it. It did take him 5 months in total to get to this point, and honestly, I am all for it. You know, people have always joked about me going on setup wars, and well, now I know what the feeling's like. For the quad monitors, he went with a 34-inch Alienware Ultralight as the main and 3 AOC monitors, all sandwiched by the Yamaha HS5 speakers. Now, the speakers are not in an ideal location, and it does in fact affect the listening experience. And I know this firsthand because I had this very same setup for many years. It's actually the main reason why I switched to a different layout. But with that said, you cannot deny the beautiful, seamless transition from one monitor to the other. It's what I really missed from my last setup the most. Of course, the desk surface is kept pretty minimal, and the only things we see are as peripherals: a Block 67 custom keyboard and a Daru A950 Pro mouse on top of a beautiful TechSource proximity alert mousepad in white. I do see you skipped the Delta at Carpio, so I'm gonna take off a point there. Besides the speakers, the only other audio source are the SteelSeries Arctis Nova 7 headphones using the built-in mic, which I actually just realized the setup doesn't have a dedicated boom arm with a mic, so technically it can't be a one-to-one. I do love the fact that Speedy went with a floating look, but then again, this wouldn't really look as good with IKEA drawers. But one thing I noticed under the desk, and this is just my 2 cents, but I feel like you should have used bigger triangle brackets instead, because the ones you have now will most likely slowly bow over time. There's just not enough support towards the end of the table because it's lacking vertical support towards the wall. I mean, unless those are made out of adamantium, I suspect you can't put a lot of force towards the edge of the desk. But I could be wrong here. I'm not sure what the strength is of those brackets that you're using. Speedy here had to run the cables through the wall and along the underside of the desk, attaching the power strip directly to the tabletop. One thing I actually like to mention though, the power strip doesn't look like it has surge protection. You know, with so many devices, I do recommend getting a heavy duty unit for that extra peace of mind. Last but not least, we cannot forget about that beautiful centerpiece mounted directly above the setup. He too used the Crow case from CSFG, and it's rocking an Intel build with an i9-13900K and an Inno 3D iChill 4080 Super. The color scheme, the symmetry, I mean, everything is on point here. Beautiful. You know, Oscar Wilde once said that imitation is the sincerest form of flattery, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm flattered. It's really awesome to see how my setup has inspired you to build your own, but just make sure it represents you. Right now, it's basically a carbon copy of mine, and while that's cool, I'd still love to see your personal touches in future updates. You know, a setup is, at the end of the day, an extension of yourself. It's where you pour your heart and soul into to make it your peaceful corner, your getaway, your sanctuary. Maybe it already is in this form. I don't know. Maybe you like to keep it clean and minimal. Maybe that's your aesthetic. But I want to see something, put my finger on it and be like, yeah, this right here screams Speedy. In any case, this was definitely an awesome way to wrap up the episode. Thank you, Speedy, for coming on the show. Oh man, that was not an ending I was expecting. But I do have a little bit of an update as well though. I will be posting all the setups featured on Setup Wars on my Instagram with proper credits, of course. And the same goes for the Setup of the Month contest that we run on Discord. In the spirit of Women's History Month, we're actually doing a girl edition of Setup of the Month contest on our Discord. So feel free to join our server and participate. I believe you guys have a few more days to join, submit, and also vote. But yeah, let me know which of these setups was your favorite in the comment section down below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you very soon in the next one.